Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello. You all know the word birthday. Yes. And you know that it means clean. So what was so special about birthday that brought out thousands and thousands of people on the 28th of April 2012 and thousands in July 2011? What was so special about this movement? We were asking for clean and fair elections, something very simple, something that united all of us. Look at the number of people who were there. In Kuala Lumpur alone, this slide shows several areas of Kuala Lumpur. Not only did we have thousands and thousands, more than 200,000 in Kuala Lumpur, we had birthday happening in more than 84 cities across the world. Now, that was special. It was organized by Global Birthday, a movement that supported the birthday cause, that was started by Malaysians overseas who felt very strongly about what was happening at home. They never forgot Malaysia. They love Malaysia as much as we do. Many of them are students. Many of them may have moved there. But they hold Malaysia very closely to their hearts. So what was it that brought all these people together? If you read about birthday, you would have known that it cut across race. It cut across religion, gender, age. We had the old and the young there. We had people on wheelchairs, people with crutches. On that day, there was no difference between any of us. We were all united in one cause. We were not alone. When we started planning for birthday in July 2011, we didn't know how many people will come and support us. And how wonderful was it when on the first birthday we had thousands and thousands of people, and then in this birthday, I should say that that was the second birthday, this is the third birthday in April 2012, more than 250,000 people came together. And if someone had to draw a picture to represent what happened on that day, it would be a picture of Malaysians holding hands across borders. That's what birthday was about. It broke down every barrier that we know. And then there is this special man, Pak Samatai. I put this picture up because it is poignant. What happened to him in April 2012 was that he was not allowed to cross that bridge, which he would walk across every day to go to the mosque. He was stopped. And he said, I insist on walking across. And they said, no, you can't. So do you know what he did? He sat down there and he said, this is my duduk banta, my sit-in. I'm going to sit here alone. He may look lonely, but he was not alone. We were all there. We were all there, not just in Kuala Lumpur. In the rest of Malaysia, we were there. Around the world, we were there with him. This man is my hero. In 2011, after tear gas was shot at us in a tunnel, he walked out of that tunnel barefoot and walked to the palace where he was supposed to hand over a memorandum to the king. He was barefoot outside the palace and he said, I want to see the king because I have an appointment to hand over a memorandum. Needless to say, he was not allowed to do that. So when people feel disheartened, I tell them, look at him, over 80 years of age. He's still fighting. He hasn't stopped fighting. He is not going to stop fighting because Malaysia is worth fighting for. It doesn't matter what age you are. We're all Malaysians, and we want what is best for our country. So what is that moment when doing nothing is no longer an option? What is that moment? That moment when something stirs within you. It's like when you see an accident and someone is hurt. Is doing nothing an option? No. You have to do something. It is that kind of a moment. When that moment arrives, that's when you say, we need to stand up and be counted. Now, these are the moments that change things. There was a video journalist who was there at Bersih 3, and he wrote an article, How Bersih 3 Changed Me. And he said, I was a freelance video journalist, but now I realize I have to do things differently. I have to tell critical stories so that the message goes out to the people. And I must do this for all Malaysians. That was a moment in his life that was important. Now, every single time there is an injustice, and I say this to the perpetrators of injustice, every time there's an injustice, a moment is created in someone. In fact, a moment is created in many people. So every day you inflict injustice on someone, you are creating a moment in someone else. And another seed for change is planted. Now, sometimes you have moments thrust upon you when you see something that you are unhappy with. Look at this young lady. Her moment came too early in life. She's a child. In my eyes, I'm a mother of 2 children. And yet, her moment came very early on. She had no choice. A moment that came and changed her life. She too felt something had to be done. And what a wonderful example she is. She's an inspiration to me. I'm 57. She's 16. Her moment came and she is bringing change. She's changing the way people think. So when I say people have moments, we can also create moments in others. By this, education. 1 child, 1 teacher, 1 book, 1 pen. Simple. Message is simple. She's talking about basic education. Or Malala is talking about basic education. I'm talking about education beyond that. And I believe when you look at the level of awareness that Bersih created, it really educated us. It changed us. And for me, we will never be the same again after Bersih. It makes you overcome your fears. I have been asked, weren't you afraid? Weren't you afraid of all the things that were happening? I said, of course I was. I'm human. But it's not about fear. It's not about having fear. That's normal. It is about overcoming them. And I know a friend of mine who said he made a choice to overcome that fear. Thomas, his name is. He made a choice. And there must be a compelling reason, he said, why you make that choice. His compelling reason was his 2 sons. That was his compelling reason, because he said, I have to leave a nation we can be proud of for my children. That was his reason. That's why he overcame his fear. But of course, we must bring effective change peacefully. Nonviolence is the first article of my faith. It is the last article of my faith, said Gandhi, and nonviolence makes sense. It makes sense to bring change through nonviolent means. I was asked, is what you're doing an attempt to bring regime change? I said no. I said, if we're going to change the regime, or we're going to change the government, we want to do it through the ballot box. We don't want to do it any other way. We want to do it through the ballot box. But to be able to do it through the ballot box, we must have free and fair, clean and fair elections. Now, all these people who are in positions of power, they have authority, they have power, they have the police, they have all that is necessary to enhance their power. What do we have? The ordinary citizen. We have truth, we have justice, we have goodness, compassion, knowledge. That's what we have. Recently we set up a People's Tribunal. Why? Because we want to arrive at the truth as to what happened in the last elections. Because truth is a powerful weapon. This artillery that you see before you, that I have named, is a powerful artillery, let me tell you. Because you can't fight it. You can't beat it. You can't beat truth. It's a powerful weapon. Justice, as a lawyer, I've always felt that every argument that we take must be based on the rule of law. And when you do that, when you base your arguments on the rule of law, you will win arguments. You will win people over to your point of view. And that's why it's important. Goodness, compassion, goodness and compassion. I've seen it so many times over the past few years. I don't know if you all remember that event that took place outside my house when there was an attempt at intimidation. People who gathered there in an assembly, huge numbers, for a few days, they tried to intimidate me. And there was so much ugliness that went on outside. But let me tell you of the goodness that was happening inside my house. The number of Malaysians who came to sit with me, some of them I don't even know very well. Some of them just popped in to say, we're sorry you're going through this. I had flowers, beautiful bouquets and bouquets of flowers. And that's what gives me hope. While all that ugliness was going on outside, there was something wonderful happening inside of my house. And that is far more compelling, far more lasting than anything else. And I remember walking into my office one day, and there was this jar, a see-through jar of colorful notes, more than 70 colorful notes, written by students. How wonderful of them. Each one of them sat down and wrote me a note. And that's 70 odd more moments. Each of them had a moment. Each of them felt compelled to write to me. Of course, I was very flattered because one of them said, I love John Lennon, I love the Beatles, and I love you. Very flattered. But what it means is that once we arrive at this moment, change is inevitable. So whose responsibility is it to bring change, to move change? Václav Havel, what did he say? To move change, we all have to act. You can't just complain about what's there. We in a sense are also responsible for that. And that's why we, the Rakyat, are responsible for what's happening now. We can bring change. It is up to us to do it. We must be united. You all know Martin Luther King. And he said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And that's why when you look at global verse, and you look at this saying, what does it mean? It means we're not alone. When there's injustice here, it matters around the world. Global verse is a wonderful network of Malaysian diaspora. They make things happen where they are. And if they are in different countries, they can change things there too, by the way they feel, by the things they say, by the advocacy that they do on behalf of Percy. So we're all connected. We're all connected. We're under the same sky. We're under the same sun. Ladies and gentlemen, so what is change about? Change is about creating moments. And I told you just now, those little colored notes, 76 more new moments were made, were created. But we can't leave it as just moments. From those moments, we must build momentum. And we have it. We have momentum. And with that momentum, we will bring change. It may take time. Change is not easy. Change will come slowly. But when we do it by education, when we do it by convincing, by acting justly, by acting non-violently, it will last. That's the kind of change that lasts. Not change that is brought by force, but change that comes from within. Now, why did I show you the quotes from those wonderful people that I put before you today? Because I was trying to find out what is it about Verse that is so special, that captured the imagination of all Malaysians. So I pulled together the threads of this wonderful wisdom of these people. And I found threads, those threads in the Verse movement. Justice, education, awareness, non-violence. I found all that in the Verse movement. So although you all know what these quotes mean and you've heard them so many times before, it matters to hear it once again, because we use it to mold the way in which we do things. Ladies and gentlemen, the Verse story is not my story. It's our story. Thank you.
That is powerful message.